Hey everyone, Nubkeks here, welcome back to Heroes of the Storm. Today we're looking at Lili and talking all about the reworks. Lili, how is she doing? What's she good at? What's she bad at? What sort of talent build should you guys be looking at, and how'd you play her? Now that we've had a little bit of time to try her out. Well, bear in mind the chat here in the draft chat, we're with friends. It's not a Lili map, that is purely trolling. But anyway, yeah. So Lili, she's not that good, unfortunately. But I'm going to be showing you how to make the most out of her in this particular game. At the moment, they made a lot of very large changes. And overall, her damage is a lot less than it was. But her healing is a lot better. So she's kind of fitting in a bit to that sort of heal bot slot as opposed to what she would have been before. So yeah, unfortunately, especially if you were playing the old Cloud Serpent build, the old W build, you're going to be used to having a lot of damage actually in the team fight, and also a lot of damage in the lane and good wave clear, and all of that stuff is now gone, unfortunately. Let's say Lili. Oh yeah, so I think that they did remove, we were talking in this game about how you could look at people's profiles in game, or in the draft, and I think they've removed that. You can look at your allies' profiles by right-click view profile, but I think they bug fixed in the hotfix like yesterday, that you can't do it to your enemies, which is good because that was bad and very, very silly. But okay, we're gonna have Karazim with us in this particular game. You could also, yeah, you could also even report enemy players before you got into the game, which is so ridiculous. Oh my god, GG Blizz, GG. Thankfully they fixed it. Thankfully they fixed it. But yeah, we're gonna have a Karazim here, so he's also gonna be doing some supporting stuff. So Lili should actually fit in pretty well in with that too. So that's pretty good. See, for example, right there, I was kind of like, huh, okay, so this guy always plays Sylvanas. What's his win rate with Sylvanas? Okay, he's like 57% win rate. That's cool. All right, it's good to know. That's good info going into the game. Oh, it's ridiculous. So yeah, I think Lili she looks okay-ish here. I'd say, typically speaking in the draft, the best place to pick her is going to be probably against an Illidan, something like that. Maybe against Greymane. The problem is that Greymane has a lot of burst damage, and Lili's not good. She's not good at healing against burst. That's one of her big problems. Well, one of her many problems. She's got bad wave clear now. She's bad siege damage. She's got pretty bad hero damage as well. She has a lot of healing output, but the healing is not very bursty, and you can't really choose who it's targeted on. So that's, yeah, a bunch of weaknesses in that regard. Her blind, her E, is also now 1.5 seconds long, so it's not that long. But I think it's still probably fairly useful against, like I said, something like an Illidan. It's probably okay, because Illidan is this very sustained damage hero that's diving in on your team, and he's very basic attack focused, so the high sustained healing output of Lili plus the blinds are just good against that. It's difficult to think of many other circumstances, though, where you would choose her all that much. In this game, the enemy team does have a Zul'jin, so if we can land our blind on Zul'jin, that's going to be pretty nice, and you're going to see me trying to do that a couple of times in the team fight, just when the positioning works out just so. But it's going to be difficult to get it off. Oh, hello. My doggy's up saying hello. Hello, dog. You're on YouTube now, dog. There's no camera, though. You guys have to watch the stream if you want to see Winston on camera. He's grown up into a big dog now. And here we go, that's the end of the draft. I like our comp a lot, actually. We've got Greymane, which is flexible damage. We've got a strong solo lane and team fighter with Malthael. And yeah, I think double support, things are looking pretty good. See you in the game. Alrighty, here we are in the game. Alright, let's get this thing, let's get the show on the road. So level 1, you want to be picking up Eager Adventurer. I think this is by far the best talent at level 1. It's kind of no contest. It's one of my kind of big concerns with Lili at the moment is that I feel like you're somewhat forced into a little bit of a cookie cutter build. And it starts even at level 1 where this talent is just simply better than everything else. So your trait is called Fast Feet, and this has been changed with the rework. So whenever you take damage, you get a Fast Feet buff for 1 second, which gives you 10% movement speed and makes your basic abilities cool down 50% faster. So it's really going to cut down your basic ability cooldowns an awful lot if you can maintain good uptime on this buff. So this actually plays into a lot of your playstyle as Lili, especially because you're relatively short range on your heal and your blinds as well. You're often trying to be far up enough in the team fight that you're taking damage from the enemy team so that you keep fast feet active, but not so far that you actually get focused down and killed. So it's finding that right balance. It's kind of this sort of ranged bruisery type role is what I would describe it as. Going forwards enough so that you take some hits, but not taking too many. In this game, actually, because they've Sylvanas, it's pretty nice, because her Shadow Dagger thing will like trigger that for quite a while just for free. It's just that sort of light dot that's just going to spread around. So that will actually, you can see it's there on us, for example, right there, and it gives us a nice little proc of our fast feet that's not too worrisome. But yeah, Eager Adventure at level 1, this increases the duration of fast feet by 50%, and gives you 150% increased mana regen while it's active. So it's just amazing. It gives you more cooldown reduction, it gives you more movement speed uptime, and it gives you an awful lot more mana, which lets you use your abilities way more often. So it just does a whole bunch of really useful things. I mean, we've got some other stuff on this level, on this talent here, but they're just not that good. Whereas the Eager Adventure at fast feet is just incredibly useful overall. So yeah, in terms of what we're doing in the team fight, again, we're just trying to position far enough forward so that we take a little bit of damage to trigger fast feet, but not too much. We're trying to land our Blinding Wind on Zul'jin if we can, but on whoever if we can't. Then we're throwing our Cloud Serpent on someone that's going to be usually in melee range, is the best person to throw that on. So your Cloud Serpent, it's a 12-second cooldown by default. Again, fast feet will cut that down. But it puts a Cloud Serpent on an ally for 8 seconds, which will just shoot enemies and will do a little bit of damage. And it will do a little bit of healing every time it attacks. So you want to get it on someone who's in melee, so the Cloud Serpent is attacking and therefore also healing as much as possible. That's basically what's going on there. Your heal, it's one of the nice changes with this. You can see a little indicator around the ally that will be healed by your healing brew, so that's nice. It's not controllable, of course, who it's going to hit. It will hit the lowest health target that's within range. So yeah, you just want to be using, you basically want to use that fairly on cooldown, to be honest, if there's someone worth healing. So you can see, for example, right there, what I did was I went forwards, I blinded Zul'jin, I let him hit me while he was blinded, and then I let him hit me once. You could see I had my positioning and I played around that. I was like, okay, the blind will make these attacks miss. I want to get hit once and then I want to back off. I don't want to let him hit me for free, but I'll take the one hit to proc my trait and get me a bit of cooldown reduction and mana back and all that stuff. So that was the idea right there. A level 4 is pretty interesting. I think you could go for kind of anything on level 4. None of them are that good, honestly. None of them are that good. What I go for is Hindering Winds. So this makes your Blinding Wind slow enemy heroes by 30% for 2 seconds. So when you hit someone with your E, which again prioritizes the 2 nearest enemies and prioritizes heroes, it will blind them for 1.5 seconds, and now it will slow them by 30% for 2 seconds as well. So that's just a little bit of extra control. I don't know if it'll actually add up to much, but yeah, I think, you know, a lot of the talents on this tier are kind of underwhelming, so yeah, this is probably the one to go for. Yeah, you can see in this fight, for example, we're kind of dipping in and out and just healing ourselves up and healing up our team. That was actually a nice juke by the Sylvanas. But yeah, we do win that team fight. I felt like this was a pretty interesting game. Actually, one thing I actually got wrong in this game, right, which is pretty big, was I had thought that they had implemented the buff for the Haunted Mine golems, the big guys that walk down the lanes. They haven't actually implemented that when I'd recorded this game. So that was a mistake. So I was kind of going, basically what they've done, I think it's out in the next patch, the Hanzo patch it should be out in, I think. But basically it will make the golems that push down the lane no longer be slowed by forts and keeps. And they made a few other tweaks, but basically what it all adds up to is that the golem will do 66% more damage against structures than it did before, which is a massive increase in effectiveness. So yeah, that basically makes it an awful lot stronger. So in this game I was going, okay, we should actually really prioritize getting the golems, because we don't want to give, they've got a strong pushing team, and with the golems being buffed, that's a big problem, but it hadn't actually been implemented yet, so we could have kept playing Haunted Mines the old way, which is you just, for the most part, ignore the objective and just do the merc camps. But yeah, that's just something to note there. You see, I was having some decisions here at level 7. I was having a lot of decisions going, do I want to take cleanse or not? Should I take cleanse? Lili's got like one of the best cleanses in the game. So it's called Let's Go. It only has a 40-second cooldown on the cleanse. It also does a bit of a heal when you cleanse someone. And Fast Feet also reduces the cooldown. So it's one of the best cleanses in the game. I mean, Karazim's is better, but he doesn't get it till 16. I suppose it's debatable, I guess. They both have pros and cons. Lili's is undoubtedly one of the best, though. But I kind of decided against taking it. I mean, it'd be kind of nice against, vaguely nice against the taunt. Quite nice, actually, against the Sylvanas silence. It should remove that, I think. Not sure. I think it does. I'm good against Uther if he goes stun lock Sonya. I mean, they have some stuns. The question was, will they actually chain them together well enough? And the big thing that made me not take cleanse is that the good stuff on this talent here is also insanely strong. Insanely strong. And it combos with the talents that we're going to be taking later on as well. So what is this talent I'm raving about? So it's called the good stuff, and this makes your healing brew, your Q, heal for an additional little bit of health every second for 3 seconds. And while Fast Feed is active, you'll see all these little crit heals. It doubles the healing potential, right? So it does twice as much healing while Fast Feed is active. So this just adds up to an awful lot more healing output throughout the course of the game. We're also going to take a talent at level 16 that makes us heal 2 people with our Q instead of just 1, and that will like double the effectiveness of this talent as well. It's going to make it really good, and everything else on 16 is kind of bad. So that kind of forces you away from the cleanse just because of the late game synergies between the talents, I think. But yeah, the good stuff is really good, and you'll see this also synergizes very well with our level 1 talent, with Fast Feet lasting longer, and our plan to kind of just take that little bit of damage, so that we're just trying to maintain a good uptime on Fast Feet, and that's going to translate into tons of extra healing as well through the good stuff. It's going to be quite nice. You'll see all those the crit heals just popping kind of consistently throughout this game. We'll take a look at the stats at the end of the game as well. I don't remember what they are now, but I felt like this is a pretty good game, pretty indicative of what you can expect out of Lili. When you're getting some, like, when you get a good game with her overall. So yeah, we should get a good insight into what sort of damage and so on that she'll be doing. I do have to say overall as well that I would expect Lili to be better at lower levels of play as opposed to higher levels of play, simply because of her design, because you've got more focused fire in higher levels. Like, for example, right there, it's good focus and punishment onto the Sonya, and she dies very quickly. But you have that in team fights as well at higher levels of play. So in those situations, Lili will struggle more, whereas in lower levels where people aren't as just synergized and coordinated, they're not like using all of their abilities together and stuff like that, the slower, more sustained healing will obviously be more valuable. So that's something to watch out for. That was a nice Pam. Very nice Pam. We're going to pop Jug. We're taking Jug. Both heroics are very good still. I do favor Jug slightly, and you're actually probably going to be wanting to upgrade Jug at level 20 now. Kung Fu Hustle being gone. So yeah, that was a nice little fight. It was a really good Pam, which was good. And it's actually good that he has Pam, because again, like I said, we don't have anything that can stop the burst. And they have quite a lot of burst. Also nice of Sylvanas to silence our entire team, but not us, so we can just channel Jugs unopposed, which is cool. They did change Jug slightly, so you can now cancel it early. And cancelling it early will result in a lowered cooldown, which is okay. It's okay. It is kind of difficult, though. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, how you want to use it yet. Because, I mean, why would you want to channel the short duration jugs? There's one case in this game where it might have been a good idea. I suppose it's more so if you get interrupted. I think that's what it is. I don't know if there's many ways to actually cancel it early for the purposes of gameplay, like using it proactively. I think it's more so if you get, you know, stunned, that your heroic will be back up sooner, I would think. Because you've got really good sustained healing with your Q. So why would you be using like a short channel of your heroic for healing? It doesn't really make any sense. So I don't think that's something that makes sense. And you don't want to cancel it early in a team fight because the cooldown will still be too long to realistically use again in the team fight. You really want to channel the whole duration during the team fight to get maximum value out of the mana investment and out of the cooldown. So yeah, I really do think that the early cancel, as far as I can tell, it could be wrong because obviously I don't actually play Lili, like no one actually plays Lili, really, in Hero League anymore. But as far as I can tell, it's just purely to make it a little bit nicer when you do get interrupted. Level 13. Again, you've got pretty interesting options here. I think they're all pretty good options. So I'm still going for Surging Winds. This is if Blinding Wind hits 2 heroes, which it ought to do in every team fight. Its cooldown's reduced by 3 seconds, so from 12 to 9 second cooldown, and then that will also be affected by fast feet. And Lili gains 10% spell power for 10 seconds, so it's that buff is really nice, and you'll basically maintain 100% uptime on this buff during team fights. So effectively what this means is you're doing 10% more damage and, crucially, 10% more healing during fights, thanks to the Surging Winds buff, which is pretty good. You know, just 10% more healing off your heroic, off everything. I think it's quite nice. The other options, though, are also kind of good. So you've got Gale Force, which increases the duration of Blinding Wind by 1 second. So from a 1.5 second blind to a 2.5 second blind. That's pretty nice. And it also makes Lili's basic attacks against blinded heroes do 50% increased damage. So that's not too bad. You know, that's a decent talent as well. And then you also have Mass Vortex, which makes your Blinding Wind hit 3 targets instead of 2. And it does 75% additional damage if all 3 enemies hit are heroes. I don't actually think this one is as good. I don't think it's as good, but I mean, there you go. So one slight counter synergy we have in this game is, of course, you know, Pam versus Jug of 1,000 Cups. There could be some counter synergies there, and I think there are a couple of times in the game. There's a couple of counter synergies in that respect. Our team is fighting, for the most part, fighting these really well. We're doing good stuff here. I'm trying to clear out these minions at least a little bit. You can see kind of struggling to do so. That was one of the things that made me most sad actually about Lili, was that Lightning Serpent at level 7 used to make your Lightning Serpent attacks, your Cloud Serpent attacks, bounce to 3 additional targets, so they hit 4 targets for some damage. Now it only bounces to 2, and it only bounces to heroes, so you don't have like a W build that just shreds through waves and lets you do kind of fun stuff like that. Yeah, you don't really have any options in terms of extra wave clear. Unfortunately, a lot of her stuff is now limited to hitting heroes. Okay, at level 16, we're gonna go for 2 for 1, and this is a huge power spike. So this increases the number of allies healed by healing Brew to 2, so it's twice as good. But it increases the cooldown by 1 second. Now this is not a huge deal. I think it's, what is it, a 4 second cooldown? And when you take the talent, it becomes a 5 second cooldown, which is totally fine. It's not a big deal at all. And again, that gets reduced. But yeah, it's basically 25% increased cooldown for 100% increased effectiveness. This will also apply the good stuff buff from level 7 on the 2 targets, so they're going to get a heal over time, which is also going to be enhanced by taking damage. That's fantastic. Oh, one little thing is, obviously when you get hit by minions and merc camps, you also trigger fast feet. So yeah, that's going to be something in terms of doing merc camps. It might be valuable against certain ones. Lili might actually be pretty good at that because she's going to have, again, good sustained healing. And you're going to get that mana regen from her level 1 talent when you're fighting the merc camps as well. So yeah, just when you're clearing out minions or doing merc camps, Whereas you might kind of be like AFK looking at the minimap or thinking about what you're going to be doing next, you know, normally on most heroes. With Lili, you want to pay a little bit of extra attention to try to, you know, get take some damage from the minions, because the damage doesn't matter, but it will equal to some pretty nice uptime on your fast feet, and therefore all the benefits that comes with that. So we're moving into the mines here. We've got level 16, the enemy team doesn't, so this is really nice. Would have been nice, I think, to fight them at that top siege camp. So I was talking about something else I didn't notice, but it could have been nice to force a fight there at the talent tier advantage. Okay, they have level 16 now, so stuff kind of equalizes. But we have ourselves a decent lead at this point in the game. I'm just trying to scout this out because they might come and try to gank us here. 2 of our teammates have Hearthstoned out. Looks like we should be fine. Let's see. The enemy team could be anywhere here, so we have to be fairly careful. I think going for that siege camp, I would have waited to engage on that siege camp until the vision was gone. I think it gives information that you don't want to give. You know, having the fog of war be scary is a worthwhile thing. So it's something you want to watch out for. So the enemy team is down there. Hello, we can see them. So yeah, I think at this point in the game I was going, oh, you know, we should actually probably be trying to fight them and not let them do this. But again, that was actually incorrect because they haven't actually implemented the changes to the golems. I think, again, once the Hanzo patch goes live and they buff the golems, you definitely will. So you can see the enemy team actually walks away with a lot more skulls, 64 to 36. Now we got the merc camps, which is better in this state of the game. But yeah, from very, very, very shortly, you're going to want to prioritize actually killing the... getting the skulls and getting a strong golem, because it's going to be doing a substantial amount more damage than you're used to. Okay, so we're seeing if we can push these mercs in here. Sylvanas, unfortunately, is doing a good job against them. And you can see we've got a pretty good healing output going on. So one slight thing I was doing there, see as well, I'm trying to get out of range. So that was unfortunate. Right there I was going, oh shit, should I cancel my heroic or not? Because we had the Pam go in on ETC. You could see I tried to outrange him, but it was actually just too much healing. So that was kind of bad. One other minor thing we're doing with the Lili, we're actually getting tons of healing off in this fight, which is nice. One other minor thing I'm trying to do, of course, is to trigger my Blinding Winds and get the 10% spell power buff up before I go in. Oh my god, Uther lived with like 1 hit point. Is to get the Surging Wind spell power buff up before I use my heroic, so that means 10% more healing, and it is quite a lot of healing. See, nice dive by our team there in onto the Uther, and Uther does go down. Uther's clone healing them up, or ghost healing them up. And you can see we're just outputting really nice healing. We're able to keep our team pretty well topped up, which is good. It's not something that Karazim can do. We're going in on the core. This is actually a mistake. If you look, the core's got too many shields. I go way too deep. I'm pretty sure I'm dead, yeah. Oh, nice Pam actually saves me. I deserved to die before that went too deep there. Sylvanas goes down, which is nice. We're going to pop our heroic, trying to keep Greymane alive. Unfortunately, it's not enough to save him. It's the burst damage from Sul'jin. It's just too strong. But yeah, I overcommitted there to the core. Definitely we should have been backing off. We did not have enough. Classic noob mistake. We did not have enough to actually destroy the core. So once the keep is gone, you just want to get out of there as soon as possible. Usually... and reset the map and get map position back and set up for your next play. Committing to a core is a bad idea when you're not ready to do anything about it. So here, our 2 damage are dead, so we're not going to try contest anything. And they've got faster respawns as well. So not going to try contest anything, we're just going to come back. But yeah, I mean, their golem did a lot of damage, has to be said. It did a lot of damage, and I think you can understand why I was misled to thinking that was... it had changed, but obviously it hadn't. Sul'jin getting greedy. Nice D-shield saves him. And yeah, once we get the D-shield out, that's pretty much us done. We've kind of got what we came here to do. Put the W in on Malthael. And we're just waiting here, see if we can maybe get them. We're almost level 20, so we could get that level 20 off this wave and then force a fight. The enemy team smartly backs off. They also have mercs, sappers, pressuring down bottom. We've got a catapult though, so yeah, the catapult is able to help clear those out. It's really nice having the keep down in that lane. It means there's a lot less pressure there for us to deal with. Top lane will always though be an issue for us. We've got sappers ourselves, Sylvanas will clear those out without too much hassle. And yeah, here we go, just kind of posturing forwards. It's worthwhile for us to kind of clear these waves pretty aggressively because this is the catapult lane for the enemy team. So having those gone is quite nice. And yeah, probably be looking to back off for the mine fight pretty soon. It'll be fantastic. This is the point where we'd really want to force a fight, but the enemy team is just too far back, unfortunately. But yeah, this half level where they don't have 20, it's pretty good for us. So at level 20, you've got a few different talents you can go for. Honestly, I think the best one though is going to be Jug of 1,000,000 cups, which makes your Jug of 1,000 cups heal 2 allies at the same time. So it literally makes your Jug of 1,000 cups basically twice as good, which is, you know, that's a pretty good upgrade to it. So yeah, I think that's what you want to go for. There's also this Mistweaver upgrade, which is like an activatable thing that ties into your basic attacks and your Cloud Serpent attacks, reducing the cooldown. There's no real reason to go for that as opposed to, I don't know what he was doing, Rip, as opposed to Jug of 1,000,000 cups. Jug of 1,000,000 cups is just going to give you more. Simple as that. I should have popped my Jug sooner here. I didn't realize the Malthael would actually take so much damage. I was feeling kind of confident. So that's a mistake. We could have saved him. Should definitely been popping the heroic. The Zul'jin burst damage, kind of surprising. That costs the Malthael his life. Yeah, Jug of 1,000,000 cups, that's the way to go, I think. You also have Shake It Off, which gives you armor, which increases every second Fast Feed is active. I mean, it could be okay, but I don't think so. I think it's just too difficult to keep a decent uptime on that. Sylvanas comes in, we're just going to chase her down, and she dies. And yeah, there you go. So I thought it was a pity that I let Malthael die in that final fight, because it's been a pretty good game apart from that. It's going to pop our Jug, and you can see we're just, you know, churning out tons of healing for our allies. We're just spinning, looking flashy as we go. And yeah, we're on to court. Whole enemy team is dead, and that is going to be game for us. I think it was a pretty nice game. Let's check out the stats, and we'll see what you can kind of expect out of Lili. And yeah, I pretty much like I think this is really the build. You could change a few things here or there to tailor things a little bit, but for the most part, this is what you want to be going for, I think. Has to be said. It's a nice play by Greymane, topping lots of stuff. It was nice actually. Like he had a lot of support, especially with the double support. Really nice. The comp actually worked out pretty well, all things considered. Dragon Strike portrait, cool. You see the reward thing is bugged there. You can't actually see properly what it is. But you can see looking at the stats, our siege damage and our hero damage are really quite awful. Our healing is extremely high though. We had 100,000 healing. Uther in comparison at about 50,000. So that's pretty good in terms of that. You know, it's pretty good. The healing output is fairly solid. I mean, Karazim had 75,000, which is also pretty good. But yeah, their damage is absolutely abysmal. Whereas before, Lili would often do tons of damage and actually be very high up the damage charts. Like you could output a lot of damage. I would say in a game like that, with the old Lili, easily be hitting, probably able to hit like 70,000 damage or something in that. Like over twice as much damage with the old build for Lili. We would have done less healing, but we would have had a lot more damage and an awful lot more siege damage too. So that's a pretty big hit to her effectiveness, it has to be said. So yeah, overall, I think her win rate's pretty terrible at the moment. And I'm not too surprised because literally all she does is slow sustained healing. She does a lot of it, a lot, but her damage is bad. She doesn't have much in the way of crowd control. You know, and it's just hard to justify taking her over those other kind of heavy healers, healing focused heroes that kind of bring more utility or they bring some CC. You know, like Ana with sleep darts or nano boost, they're massively effective. You know, Morales with her grenades, or you know, Medivac or stim drone. I just feel like those things are much bigger and more effective than the Lili. And I'd personally like to see, it's hard to say, you know, toning up her damage, putting her back and being more of that bruisery role, kind of like a bruiser slash healer. I think that'd be kind of interesting. I don't know if it fully fits with a little panda girl. And I don't know if that would make her too overpowered and double support meta and all that sort of stuff. But I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys think of Lili. But at the moment, you know, she's okay, but she's unfortunately not that great. Guys, give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching it, and I'll see you all next time for some more Heroes of the Storm. Bye-bye.